It's been a hot minute since we recorded an episode of Gargoyles. The reason being, I had been planning to move across the country, which, as of presently, has seen to fruition. I really like that word lately. I've been saying it.
Fruition?
Fruition. I
Fruition.
don't even know if I'm using it correctly.
Where did you move to, Sid?
You're
Where are
using
you
it
right
correctly.
now?
Okay, cool.
Where are you located?
I am currently located in the same household abode as my two fellow podcasters. So everything
Oh my god.
is.
He's here. He's with us.
I have a way with
He's
words.
in our guest room.
I am.
This is a house of loincloths now. This is the loincloth house.
I've built my little nest in the loincloth.
We're like a sexy
Yeah.
frat pad.
We are.
But of like Gargoyles fans.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, we decided that since everything's all good and settled, we can go ahead and record another episode of Gargoyles, all of us being in the same room.
Yeah.
So we are now in high quality recording. High quality being we don't need to use a Discord call to communicate anymore.
HD.
Yeah.
This is the best.
Yes. We're all in the same room. So yeah. We are on season 2, episode, what was it, 7 or 8?
7.
7.
Of Gargoyles, which is Eye of the Beholder.
Before we start, does everyone want to introduce themselves?
Oh yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself.
They
aren't
know
I?
who we are.
They probably do, yes.
Y'all know who it is.
Welcome to the Loincloth Hour, a podcast where we talk about homoeroticism in animation, focusing, in the beginning at least, on Disney's Gargoyles.
Yeah.
And your hosts are myself, Manicorn.
Myself, Sydney.
And myself, Huron.
Yeah, so that's the show. That is the show.
Welcome. Also, Roe vs. Wade just got overturned, like, yesterday.
Yep.
So, we're all pissed off here, and you probably are too. And we should burn down the Supreme Court's houses. Let's get on with this fun episode of a podcast about cartoons.
Yeah. I mean, it is an important disclaimer for the kind of audience we do. Not just for the audience, for everyone in general. I think it's important to get that across. I hope that voices are going to be heard and action's going to be taken soon. In the meantime, we're just going to have to press forward with the podcast and focus on what we enjoy and what people enjoy, you know?
Yeah, it's either that or I don't know what the other options are. Anyway, previously on Gargoyles.
Previously...
let's just jump in.
Okay,
Or
sure
something.
thing.
I made it as far as the normal opening before I noticed something was rather off.
Really?
What was that?
Well, I was watching it on Disney Plus,
I was too.
and I immediately noticed and double checked to compare. For some reason, on Disney Plus, this episode has its colors all whacked out.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that.
Because I did not watch it on Disney Plus. So
Yeah.
how was it different?
Like the red, everything was a little red tinged almost.
I think,
Really?
yeah, like they added some saturation. Maybe.
Yeah, it was definitely a little too saturated.
To the whole
it was a little
episode?
red shifted. Yeah, like the recording they have up on Disney Plus is not a good recording.
Disney has to get their act together.
I
with
guess
this
they
shit.
just thought it would make the episode look better if they applied an Instagram filter over it. But I don't know if that's the most foolproof way.
Either their episodes are like out of order, like X-Men is on Disney Plus, or like I don't understand. They censor stuff. Disney Plus is a whole can of worms.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have no comment.
Well, let's talk about the footage that we see on the previously portion. So I want to bring up that if you hadn't seen the show before and you were just watching this episode, you'd have no idea that Gargoyles are even the main characters of the show, because we don't see them in the previously portion.
Oh my gosh.
We think that Xanatos is the main character, because we only see Xanatos!
Well, we see the intro to the show too. So there's exposition with the intro, Goliath, we are the protectors of the night. And then we see the previously on, because this is a very Xanatos-focused episode.
It is. So we see him, like, making out with Owen, like, jerking himself off while he talks about, like, how cool he is.
Well,
like he got the Eye of Odin back, which it turns out is going to be an important object in this episode.
Yeah.
And we also see him like making out with Fox, calling her a cake, and like licking her nipples, basically, like in a car. So those are the two scenes that we see. They're great. They're perfect. And that sets us up for this Xanatos heavy episode.
Yes.
Which we're about to watch.
Yes. So, I have no comment.
Yeah.
I didn't take a whole lot of notes.
Well, I have one because I don't remember now. But during the Edge episode, was the real world origins of the Eye of Odin discussed?
It was just a thing in a museum, I think.
No,
Xanatos like had, but they didn't discuss that it's like actually the Eye of Odin or anything. If that's what you're asking.
I'm not talking about in canon ones. I'm talking about like the production origins of the Eye of Odin.
I don't know what that means.
Okay, well, I'm going to start with a little bit of a lesson then.
About?
Oh boy.
You mean like mythological? How he like gave his eye for knowledge?
No, I'm talking about like Greg Wiseman and co, where they got this idea from.
Oh, tell us.
So, the Eye of Odin was actually created by Disney Interactive, the video game developers who were developing a Gargoyles video game.
Was it the Sega game? Because we haven't played that.
I'm not sure which one it is, but I would assume so. So this was happening during the development of Season 1. And, they were talking back and forth with the cast. And they gave up their plot, which the main plot is about the Eye of Odin. And the writers liked it so much, they wrote the Eye of Odin into the show with an entire arc planned out for it from the start.
So, do you know if that arc came to fruition?
Yes.
Well, as you like to say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, from the start, they introduced it with the idea that eventually it would end up in Odin's eye.
That hasn't happened yet by the time the show ends, but I can see that
it's... return home.
No,
wait,
it
did
does.
that happen in
happens
the world tour?
During the world tour.
Okay, I hate that episode, so like I try not to rewatch it.
It's not a great episode, but like everything they planned out for
Odin gets his eye back. That's wonderful.
But like they planned from the start that the eye would have the power of insight, essentially.
Yes, or turning into a hot
like
monster lady,
insight?
as it turns out.
Yeah. Well, that's insight into Fox's character, so...
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah, because she's a furry, we find out.
We find out she's a furry, just like the rest of the cast. We're all furries. So Dingo's the only non-furry in the entire cast.
But his name's Dingo, so he's gotta be a furry.
I mean, he dresses up in a freaking...
He's like me. Like, he's
armor.
a furry, but he's like not into the fursuit part of the fandom. It's like...
No, he just wears all bondage
He's just into the porn part.
Mm-hmm.
He literally wears a dingo-themed suit.
What are you talking about?
Doesn't he wear the armor?
Yeah, no.
Like the Venom symbiote armor?
No, before that. He wears armor when everyone gets their upgrades.
Oh.
Yeah, you're right.
Was it Dingo themed?
Yes.
Yeah,
Dingo's a furry too. They're all furry.
He tried to like indulge in the fursuiting thing, and he decided it wasn't for him, and just is like, "Fuck that! I'm gonna go on a walkabout."
Yeah. Meet some other furries.
That's pretty much how it goes.
Because everyone in Gargoyles is a furry.
We just spoiled that entire arc, but it doesn't matter because the show's been out for 20 plus years.
I feel like the audience enjoys us spoiling things, like, randomly.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless, it's not like anyone's going to have a clue what actually happened from that description.
I know y'all are on the edge of your seats about what happens to Dingo.
I hope they are, because I love Dingo. And
No,
great.
Yeah, he is. All the pack members are great, but we've established
Dingo.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess there's some other good ones in there too.
Maybe.
But we don't need to mention names.
I'm gonna try not to mention him once this entire episode because this episode has nothing to do with him.
Okay, and I'll
try
not to mention
like,
X-Men or Star Trek for this episode. I think I already mentioned X-Men at least once though. I'll try not to mention them again.
You know what? I set a personal challenge for myself. It doesn't mean you have to.
Oh, okay, good. So I don't think I'd be good at it. So anyway, the episode opens up with something that it does immediately set it apart from other episodes, which it gives a date at the start, which I think this is the only episode that's ever done that.
This is the only episode that finds...
Do others do that too?
I don't know, but I know that it seems like it had an important need to give us this exposition for the first time. Well, you were saying?
I'm fairly certain City of Stone will also do this.
Okay,
that makes sense.
But yeah, this is definitely the first time it's happened so far.
I think when the dates are most relevant, because that way we know that this happened like weeks ago before, so there was no real
yeah, it's necessary to know when this is because this is going to turn out to be a Halloween episode. And we know when Halloween is, so we need to know that this. But the episode starts on October 1st.
Yeah, and I think it's also an important date for their engagement and stuff like that. Like they want it to be on the 1st, or maybe Xanatos planned it to be on the 1st. Who knows?
I don't know,
because he's number one. They both are.
They're both tops. They're both alphas.
They are. Okay, but the way they talk about it at the beginning, let's get into the scene.
Because it opens with my favorite scenes in the entire show.
Yes, mine as well.
Which is just Xanatos and Fox are having dinner together in Castle Wyvern. And first of all, their dining room is ridiculous. I just want to point this out. There's a full fireplace. There's a full fire roaring the fireplace. They're seated at one of those like dining room tables that are ridiculously long that like only rich people have. And there's like a visual shorthand for like you just have too much money, and they're both at like either end of it. So there's like a football field of space like between them. And they're both dressed very nicely, and Owen is also there, dressed as a fancy waiter, which I also love.
Very dedicated,
and of course he's walking back and forth between the two to serve them tea.
He's getting his steps in right now, so. First he serves Fox some tea, and then he goes over to Xanatos. But then when you see Xanatos, like, it's clear he's just been staring at Fox the whole time. Because she looks beautiful. She's wearing this wonderful dress, and he's just staring at her. And Hiron, it reminds me of how you stare at me when I'm just like reading a book, and I'm like, "Why are you looking at me?" And you say shit like, "Because you're so beautiful," and I'm like, "Stop saying that." So like, but he has that same expression on his face.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the table is actually a metaphor of some sorts. The long table, because there's distance between them. Xanatos, I think, wants to put a stop to this kind of distance. I think that's what the following episode and the story arc that unfolds kind of tells us as well. Is he wants to, kind of change that sort of sociopathic demeanor for this one person.
Yeah, because in this episode, his whole character is trying to like shift in that direction, at least when it comes to Fox. But yeah, so the first line of the episode is just Xanatos saying, "Marry me."
And Fox replies,
"Are you serious?" Sorry.
We're genetically compatible, highly intelligent, and have the same goals. It makes
genetic-
perfect sense to
His first reason is we're genetically compatible.
What the fuck does that mean?
Like, we're both human? Like, what does that mean? Oh my god. Like, it's incredible, though.
I love the way they talk, too, because they both have that similar mindset where it's like, she doesn't even, like, act in surprise. I mean, she is, but at the same time, she doesn't go like, "Oh, wow, this is so sudden," or anything like that.
She's like,
"Are
is
you
this
serious?
a joke? Like, are we, like, what is the seriousness
Like,
level
what do you
of
mean by
you're
doing
right
this?"
now? And she responds to that list of reasons, though. She says, "True, but what about love?" And he says, "I think we love each other as much as two people such as ourselves are capable of that emotion."
So romantic.
It's like the most robotic response like possible.
I love that because it's like a sociopath acknowledging that he is a sociopath.
Yes, that they're both sociopaths.
They are.
And that they're both aware of that. But like also that they found each other and like they care for each other like as much as they can care for anything.
Yeah.
So I just like I love that line because like it acknowledges that they're both fucked up, but like that line more than anything like sells me that like they actually do care about each other because like they care about each other in a fucked up way.
I've met people who some less than I'm not going to say uneducated, but they just weren't aware of how like pretty much psychology diagnoses work. But, they would say to me sometimes like, "Oh, I'm worried I'm a sociopath because I don't feel anything about that." It's like, if you're worried about being a sociopath, you are not a sociopath. A sociopath, as soon as they acknowledge the idea that they are one, wouldn't question it.
Oh, because I worry about that all the time.
Well, you're not a sociopath then. If you're a sociopath, they wouldn't give a shit.
Am I?
You are not.
You're not. I don't think any of us are.
You're not. Actually, let's discuss what happens next. Specifically, Xanatos has Owen, instead of doing it himself, he has Owen open up the box
Owen
to
steps
present
up,
her.
yes, and her whole face goes like, oh, like there's this beautiful thing inside this box.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
But yes, it's inside is an amulet, specifically the Eye of Odin.
yeah, he's put on a nice little necklace, very tasteful.
Which we acknowledged in the previously on Gargoyles that he got that during the Edge episode.
Right, like he had it stolen from himself, and then he got it. I don't even remember what happened.
Yeah,
He donated it to the museum to get himself goodwill back, and then he stole it from the museum.
Yeah, because we kind of blanked out on that episode and stuff, so we kind of forgot that he had it until now.
I remember that he had like a crisis of faith because Owen like beat him up in a karate match or something, and he had to like have a dick measuring contest with Goliath, like make himself feel like a big man again.
Mm-hmm. Basically,
because it's Xanatos.
Yeah, and he made himself a Goliath power suit, which he still uses.
Was that the one where Goliath was like, Xanatos wants to dominate us?
Yes.
But okay, so he has it presented with an amulet, which I would like to point out is a very strong rejection of traditional marriage.
It's not a ring.
Yeah.
It's an amulet.
Traditions.
Mm-hmm.
So,
he doesn't need to be traditional. He's a wild man. He does what he likes. Mm-hmm. He's eccentric.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, the fox immediately accepts, though. She's like, oh, I accept. Just like, the amulet's fucking awesome. And also, she does just want to marry him.
The way she says it, though, is, it's beautiful. Proposal accepted.
Yes.
She's so thorough.
This is like the best scene for them. I love it. Like, I want to rewatch it like over and over again.
They're a power couple.
Because they are a power couple.
Mm-hmm.
And I also thought it was very funny that Owen doesn't say anything. Like, he presents the amulet and then he just fucking walks away. And he's like, okay, my job here is over. Like, goodbye.
He smiles.
Oh, I didn't see that he smiled, did he?
He smiles like several times very subtly during this episode.
But is he smiling because he's happy for them? Or, like, because he's secretly evil?
He's smiling for, according to the Ask
He knows what the eye is, doesn't he?
No, that's not why.
No.
He's smiling because of the same reason why he's employed to Xanatos in the first place. Because he finds them fascinating.
They are. Yeah, this is one of the most fascinating scenes with
and
them.
yeah, this entire episode has been like, oh, yes, I'm so glad I'm here.
So, smash cut to October 30th. A whole month just went by. And I'm sure that Remy will tell us exactly what episodes happened during that month. Mm-hmm. I do not remember.
I know at least the last one where Broadway ruined his coat.
Yeah, because he's going to have that coat in this episode. Or does that episode take place after this one?
No, it takes place before. So he wrecks his coat, and then Elisa had to express ship and order another one to have it in time for Halloween, according to the
Okay,
according to the production
I'm glad
team.
that we've straightened out Broadway's flasher coat that he has.
Oh man, I love that art that Spiffy made for that.
Yes!
It's very good.
Oh my god, I love it so much. Okay, but for now, we are occupied with Halloween. So we see Elisa coming out of a Halloween store, and she's just like getting to her car when there's this like unearthly scream that she just hears.
That wasn't Fox, right? It didn't sound like...
It is Fox.
Is it? It didn't even...
She's the only monster around. Spoilers.
I know, but like...
It's not a gargoyle scream. It has to be Fox screaming. It's not any of the people.
It's the old man running
It's
out
not
of
the
store.
old man.
He
You
has
Mr.
a very
Jaff?
Hulk-like scream.
You got his name?
His name is Mr. Jaff.
Mr. Jeff.
So, Mr.
Because
Jaff,
he was in the Cold Stone episode from
correct.
season 1.
So he's in the Cold Stone episode, and he'll show up again in a later episode of this season where it turns out he has a connection to Matt.
Oh my god. Is he a member of the fucking Illuminati or something?
No.
I wish.
No, he's just an old friend of Matt's.
He's just an old friend of Matt's. Okay, whatever, Matt. I don't think Matt has friends.
Well,
except for Mr. Jeff.
he's more the clerk of who owns the store where Matt used to just like hang around and read newspapers as a kid, but...
Oh, he was probably one of those brats who like read like entire comics, then like put them back and didn't pay for them.
Probably.
Not that I ever did that.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's not a gargoyle scream, but clearly it's like some sort of monstrous entity. And we see Mr. Jeff run out of the store. Jeff?
Jaff.
Jaff.
Mr.
Like
Jaff.
with an A?
Jaffe.
Okay, Mr. Jaff.
Cafe.
Excuse me. And also the window of the general store like got smashed by a
maybe
chair
it's
going
that
through
way. I
it
don't
or
know.
something.
Could be.
So Elisa investigates. The store inside is trashed. Like the lights are off, so I guess the power got cut off. But you know, there's some tense moments as she's like going through the store. She's hearing like things breaking like towards the back, so she's like progressing towards that.
But she has to stop at this can, which is wobbling like so much. It's just wobbling like really quickly back and forth. I'm just like what is this?
It just got thrown. I guess.
It did. It was just they animated going back and forth way too quickly, and it looks like it's almost vibrating.
Okay, the animation in general this episode is like
so good.
Sort of out of control, but like in a really good way. But like there's so much motion.
Yeah.
Like they got their A team, and like it looks so good.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so she does towards whatever is like trashing the store, and then she has like an oh shit moment because like by like the freezer section, she sees a fucking hot monster, and she's like, there's already too many hot monsters in my life. I can't handle anymore. There's only so many dicks I can take. No more hot monsters.
Except this one doesn't have a dick.
No.
Supposedly, as far as we know.
But like, looking at this monster, like I'm aware it's female, but like it looks masculine.
No,
to
it
me.
does.
It looks like it has big, muscular, meaty pecs. Like they don't look like boobs to me.
No.
No.
So like I get very confused sexually watching this episode.
Yeah,
especially whenever Goliath is gonna wrestle this monster, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, and there's gonna be a lot of that.
Female werewolves can get it. What can I say?
Yeah, they certainly can. So the monster like runs off when like it sees Elisa, and then like I don't know how it fucking does this, but like it sneaks up on Elisa somehow, despite like being this massive fucking snarling creature with booming footsteps. It also has like a big fox tattoo on its face, which I feel like we've seen somewhere before. I can't quite put my finger on where. Is also wearing a necklace that also looks very familiar. Like I feel like we saw that like 30 seconds ago.
It's Matt.
It's Matt Bluestone. No, it's Demona. It's Demona. Her shadowy silhouette. It was Demona all along.
Oh my god.
But other than the necklace, this monster is just like butt ass naked, and so like it lifts Elisa up and is like it looks like to like eat Elisa, but then like Elisa like hits it with a bag of flour that's there and like. Yeah.
So is that flour? Because it's labeled XXX.
What do you think it is?
XXX.
I don't know. I just wanted to commentate on the fact it's labeled XXX.
I didn't even notice that.
Dude,
why is it called? Why is it
probably
triple
the
X flour?
fucking shopkeeper's porn stash or
Oh
something.
my god! But
like
like,
all
then
his
why is
dirty
there?
magazines.
Maybe it's cocaine.
Oh, it could
That's
be.
where all the white dust comes from.
Maybe it's cum. Powdered cum.
No.
That was my first thought. I was waiting for someone else to say it.
That was your first thought?
Yeah, I got it. Powdered cum.
It's Mr. Jeff's powdered cum.
He
Everyone.
powders his cum like a
And,
you know.
and Fox
that's
got
his
a
fetish.
massive face full of it and just had to run away because it was like it overwhelmed her senses.
I mean, that would overwhelm anyone's senses, really.
Then the police show up, like other police, and you know by the time Elisa
Not
like
important
turns from looking at the police back to the monster, like the monster's gone. Somehow, like I guess there's a back door. I don't fucking know. But afterward, there's a quick scene with like Officer Morgan who comes up to her and he's all like, "I fucking hate this thing." And Lisa's like, "Yeah, I hate this thing too," because apparently we've been like trying to stop this monster for like weeks. Apparently, like this monster's been running around the whole time.
Exposition.
Yes, a quick expository scene.
Yeah, every night is trick or treat in the Big Apple. Yeah.
Then we see a quick television broadcast about it. That's just like another monster sighting in the city, and then we switch to Xanatos watching the broadcast on his like fancy TV in his office.
Speaking of the broadcast, it's featuring yet another of our recurring cast members.
Oh, was that
Travis Marshall?
Travis Marshall, the guy who fucked Matt, like in the helicopter.
That's how you remember him.
Yeah, and I remember like he and Xanatos also had like that like little tiff
in the edge.
in the edge.
Like, notably, most elements of the Edge return in this episode. Pretty much everything from that episode does.
Nice, but not Matt and Travis fucking.
But not
that
Matt.
isn't
Not Matt at all. Matt gets to sit this one out.
No.
Although, wait, no, wasn't that in Reawakening?
I don't remember anymore.
I
But
don't think Matt was in the Edge.
excuse me. So Xanatos and Owen are watching the TV, and then Fox comes in. She opens the door and she comes through, and like, she's very clearly like she took notes from Broadway because she's also like in flasher mode. She's only wearing a trench coat.
Oh my god.
She has bare legs, no shoes. Where did she get the trench coat from? Like,
does anyone really want to know?
yes. Did she steal it? Did she like
definitely stole it.
proposition
She
someone
has her
for
ways.
it? Where did...
She probably stole it.
I'm guessing she knocked out whoever was wearing it and stole it.
She's not above that.
I love that. I love this idea. But yeah, so what if Elisa bought her a trench coat too? Like, she bought Broadway a trench coat. Maybe Elisa's
Does she
her
just go gifting people trench
She just
coats?
gives everyone trench. You look like you could be a good flasher. Here, I will give this to you.
She's like trying to get people to cover them up, but it's like anybody who wears a trench coat does anything but that.
So Xanatos says, "Where have you been hiding, my dear?" And Fox says, like, in the most suspicious way possible, "I was out taking a walk." And then he says, "You are wearing my engagement gift." It, like, also in the most suspicious way possible. Like, I don't know, like, they're just, like, always in this mode of, like, acting like they have secret plans, even if they don't. And Fox is like, "Of course, I never take it off. Excuse me, I think I might be coming down with something." And she, like, crosses the room and, like, leaves through another doorway. And, like, she's, like, very super naked under this trench coat. Like, you see, like, all of her legs.
Yeah.
It's extremely sexual.
Mm-hmm.
And then Xanatos just turns to Owen and he says, "Time for plan A."
The whole episode!
And I was like,
God,
what the fuck is plan A? Like, what?
Well, I have a full list of plans that we can discuss at the end of the episode.
He has a
Oh,
lot of
thank God.
plans. Plans upon plans. Backup plans. So many plans.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, this is the thing that confuses me in this episode, because Xanatos is acting like he has another scheme going. But, like, it's actually going to turn out, like, he doesn't.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I guess he knows that something is fucking up with Fox, though. Because, like, it's very obvious.
Mm-hmm.
So, according to Ask Greg,
Yeah.
the reason he's acting like he has a scheme is because that's his way of keeping up the pretense that he doesn't actually care for Fox while he tries to help her. And it kind of falls apart over the course of the episode.
See, I would think it's also his way of, like, asserting control.
It's, I mean, the
Because
same
this is
thing.
what, like, he
in a
always
way.
does. Yeah, and acting like he doesn't care for Fox is also a way of asserting control.
Exactly.
Because he
'Cause
sees
then-
love as a weakness.
Right, because if he admits he's in love with her, then she has power over him, and so does anyone else who understands that.
Yeah.
Yeah, throughout this entire episode, I think it's just a very exploratory internal battle Xanatos goes through between his constant need for control over things, as well as the feelings, the quote feelings unquote he's developing for Fox.
Mm-hmm. His sexy feelings.
Yeah, I mean, come on, have you seen her naked? He's definitely going to Plowtown.
We're all
with
trying
that.
to see her naked this
Or
episode.
she's going to Plowtown with him. Let's be honest.
Yeah, she's into petting. We've established this multiple times by now.
Yeah.
It's canon.
Mm-hmm.
So the show tells us it's the next day, which is Halloween, in case you haven't been following along, and the camera zooms in on a jack-o'-lantern, which then transitions into, like, Goliath's face, which I just thought was very funny. I don't know why. Don't ask me.
I like it.
But then
That's
we're
a
treated
cool
to, like, a gargoyle flexing scene, number, like, 452.
Yeah.
But it's a really good one.
Yeah, this is a very good... Like, Goliath flexes for, like, an unusually long time. And, like, after all his stone chips are away, he just flexes more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you still flexing, Goliath?
We also get a shot of all five of them flexing at once before we focus on each one individually flexing.
Except for Hudson, who is, like, not in this episode.
Yeah.
Well, he shows up in the five-person shot.
Yeah, like, and I think that's the only shot he's
Yeah.
in. Like, where does he go after this? He's
Who knows?
gone. Like, he's wherever Bronx goes when he's not in the show.
Yeah.
He's not even in the Halloween bit later on.
He just wants to sit at home and watch TV, man.
Yeah,
he's a retiree.
the big
But
game
maybe
is
he's
on.
off making out with
Oh, what's his face?
Jeff Robinson. Or-
Yeah.
I mean, that's always been my headcanon, is
Mr.
that goes
Robinson.
to see him.
Yeah,
during this
yeah.
episode.
I hope that they do hang out together.
Mhm.
I thought that would be cute. But the trio, they're all excited about Halloween because tonight is like the only night that they can go out as themselves, so to speak, and not be like hunted down. And like I don't need to point out the queer subtext of Halloween, right? Like it's a day where you get to like be whoever you want, assume whatever identity you like want to try on, and it's like just treated as part of the holiday, and it's normal, and like it's a day that celebrates like the departure from like not being your everyday self.
You want to know something crazy? It's minute 31 as you're talking about Halloween.
Nice. But you know, it's like the Feast of Fools and Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah,
It's the same concept.
How'd you work in that Hunchback reference, huh?
Okay,
It's good, I like
X-Men,
it.
Star Trek, Hunchback. That's the triumvirate. I'm hitting them all. But then Elisa arrives, and she and Goliath go off to have like a private little talk about her little monster problem. So like I don't remember what they talked about in this scene, but like I think she just like explains that there's a monster running around.
That,
and then
that
they
is
hold
the short
hands.
version of it.
Yeah,
And-
it's a really sweet scene.
And Goliath's all
actually.
like, I should have been there to protect you. And she's like, you can't protect me all the time. We're all vulnerable sometimes. And then she like strokes his chest, and it's like, ooh,
There's a
they're
lot of
being
physical
intimate.
closeness and tension between them as the episodes continue to develop, particularly in this episode.
Yeah, they're very touchy with
It's
each
a
other. which
good
is
episode
cute.
for shippers.
It's another good shipping episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I'm gonna like it because I love to ship people.
But then after she says everyone's vulnerable, she adds, "It helps to know someone cares. Somebody cares."
Aw, so cute.
Yeah.
Then we just juxtapose that scene with a Fox and Xanatos scene, almost like they're doing it intentionally. Because we switch over to them, and Fox, she's at an open window, still in her trench coat. The eye of Odin is like glimmering against her skin. Like there's this crazy wind. Like it's a windy night. Her hair is all over the place. She has like 80s hair for this scene. And then Xanatos comes in, and he says, "I'd like to borrow your engagement present. I want to have it engraved." And she says, "No, I can't bear to part with it." And he says, "I'm afraid I'll have to insist." And then we get like one of the best transformation scenes like in all of media. Like it's so good.
Yeah.
And we just watched the werewolf episode of Cyber Sex, which also has like an insanely good like transformation scene.
Yeah.
But I think this one is better because like it's so smooth.
It's been a werewolf kind of weekend.
We were just
Yeah.
watching werewolf shit this
Yeah.
week. But like we see like the fur grow on like one of Fox's hands, and like the claws pop out, and Xanatos makes this really funny like noise, like he's surprised.
like, I think that's just because he's not usually surprised.
No, he's not used to this. Then like the eye of Odin is shining, and like Fox grabs it, but then like it explodes with like this magic light, and she screams. And like you can tell she's like trying not to transform, but like it's like this process that like she can't control, and she reaches out to him for help, but like then that hand like also transforms into like a werefox hand, and like it's spreading to her body, and she's like clutching her face, and like that transforms, and like I imagine it's like very painful or just like fucking weird. It's body horror. It's crazy. And Xanatos also has this like extremely anime shot of him just like reacting over like this
Yeah.
static, like anime background.
No, it's a really well animated surprise reaction
It's
from
like,
Xanatos.
"Ooh."
Yeah, the way the camera like shifts backwards, like it's like control is leaving him almost. It's
And
like
he
really
also
cool.
gets like this insanely big like boner like in his pants.
Yeah, that's
it's
that's
like
my
destroying
theory.
his pants. It's just like
The furry in
exploding from
him.
his crotch.
The furry in him
Well,
is
I
loving
mean,
this.
we know what the first thing she does when.
Yes!
Okay, we're almost there though. So first she like shreds her trench coat off. Also extremely sexually. She looks like super hot and muscly. And I'm into werefoxes now. And there's like this extremely sexual animation of her like slavering jaw as she like advances on Xanatos, like draining like every ounce of cum out of his balls.
She's in heat. She's in heat.
She's in heat. Oh my god, is she? She's
I
like
think
a
she
Vulcan.
is. She.
Like
Dogs go into heat.
Yeah, but Vulcans
Dogs
do too.
are very. I think that's where Vulcans get it
Star
from.
Trek.
That was so forced.
You haven't seen that episode where Spock goes into heat, and like the entire crew has to like fight him. It's crazy.
Okay.
There's a word for it. I don't remember it right now, but it's a part of the show. It's real. It happens like every 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not making it up.
I believe you.
But so she's coming for Xanatos, and he just says, "I thought so." And he pulls out this gun and just starts shooting. Like they're at the domestic violence phase of their relationship. But it's just a tranq dart. It hits her shoulder. She pulls it out. Then she like bear hugs him, which is another thing that's going to happen a lot in this episode. There's like 4 bear hugs. And then she throws him on the bed.
Oh my god!
And like straddles him and like presses his shoulders down and like things are getting real sexual, like real fast.
I mean, Fox, I think I've talked about it before, more than likely has a high sexual appetite since it's been confirmed.
She fucks every pack member except for Wolf.
There's a mention of him. There it is.
It's the one mention he'll get that he didn't fuck Fox.
So,
he was the only one able to resist her
I've also
charms.
talked about my headcanon of Fox waiting for Xanatos in prison every day, masturbating to a picture of him, which is... I could totally see happening, so yeah.
Was it like the headshot that he gave her?
I don't know.
Like,
there's pictures of him all over the internet. He's a millionaire.
do you think he used to model?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's too good looking to not do it. Too rich, too good looking. But, I think that's all I had to say about that, huh?
So as he's pressed into the bed by Fox, he screams one word, which is, Owen. Help me, my gay manservant.
That's their safe word.
That's their safe word.
It's like if things get too rough between them, they call Owen in to help.
Owen. So Owen comes in. He also shoots her with a tranq dart, which this one seems to have like some effect. As Fox like seems to slow down.
No, because she feels an attack from behind, and then she's on her guard.
Yeah. So then like Xanatos grabs a bedsheet and like flourishes it like he's like a bullfighter. I don't know why he's doing that.
He's in the zone, man.
And then he throws it over her head.
He
Like I don't know why this
by
works.
his werewolf fiance. He is in the zone.
But he throws it over her head like she's a Scooby-Doo villain, and she like can't get out from under it. And then, like he and Owen like tackle her, and they're like holding her down.
I mean, as a dog owner, I can relate to this scene in a variety of ways. Like, this is something that people do sometimes to control their animals.
Well, it doesn't work on Fox, because, like, she's still, like, a werebeast, so she just, like, sort of throws them both across the room and, like, escapes. Like, she's running on all fours now. Like, she's just, like, pure animal. She goes to the elevator, like, destroys the door to it. Like, every elevator door we see in the show just destroyed, like, 5 seconds after it closes. But then she climbs down the elevator shaft. There's an alarm going off.
Oh, okay, but that climbing sequence.
Yeah.
She's just like jumps down, is climbing down head first, and it's like really well animated.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. Also, she's like, it seems like she's climbing like very carefully too.
Yeah.
Like she like she's not in a rush for this part. I don't know. It just seemed like she knows what she's doing. She's a capable person, even as a were creature.
Also, I have to add in the Ask Greg review, which was not by Greg,
Uh-huh.
they did explicitly mention Xanatos getting thrown on the bed, and it was a good thing Owen came in before things got
my gosh.
embarrassing for Xanatos. Apparently, it was.
Oh my
This was not
gosh.
Greg again, but it was on his blog.
Okay, there's gonna be another scene later on though, when like Xanatos like is gonna like faint in like Fox's arms basically, and like all my notes for that section is like, oh please don't rape me, Fox. Oh no, please don't.
Dude.
Like
Fox is a dom.
like
Straight
knowing
up.
that
Even as
Xanatos
a
is sewn to
werewolf.
Goliath, like I feel like
Especially as a werewolf.
where Fox like is his sexual fantasy. Like I don't know, like the only reason he doesn't want this for Fox is because like it's going to actually kill her, but otherwise he's into it.
Yeah.
Broche, she's in the elevator. So a door opens in the next floor down. There's a bunch of like Xanatos' like spandex wearing guards that I guess he still has.
Yeah, why
we
not?
haven't seen them in like a while, but I think they all just die here because Fox like rips through them, just runs down the hallway and gets out of the building.
At least one of them is a named character who will recur, but I totally forgot his name and I didn't write it down.
Is it the guy from Deadly Force who was at like the gun shipment attack?
The one who works for him? Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, I know he has a name.
Yeah, so he showed up during this. Like, literally every recurring character in the series appears.
Not that we know, because we don't see his face. Like, they're all wearing masks. But I guess we recognize his voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we go back to Xanatos and Owen, and they, like, have a discussion. So, like, they put a tracking monitor on her at some point.
Oh, yeah, we saw.
Is that when they shot her?
So when the tranks, they all have like a red beeping out on the end of them that are clearly.
So the one tracking, that Owen shot her with,
that was
is
left
still attached. Okay.
Yeah.
And Xanatos says something like, "So much for doing things the easy way," which I just like. Yeah, I guess just asking her to give you the amulet was the easy way. Like, kudos to you for going for the simplest solution first. Too bad you like picked the wrong night, I guess. We also learn in this scene that her metabolism is in like hyper overdrive mode, and like if she stays in the form that she's in, she's gonna like be dead by the end of the night.
Well, I'd also just have to point out there,
yeah.
Owen, when Fox disappears, he's like, Fox has left the building, which just proves that he's an Elvis fan.
I did not even hear him say that.
That makes sense. Wait, who says that?
God.
Owen
does.
does.
Okay. It makes sense. Owen likes Elvis.
Yeah.
So Xanatos says, "Incredible. If I'd known the Eye of Odin had that kind of power, I'd never have just given it away." Well, spilled milk. Let's move on to plan B. He's so blasé about his fiancée turning into a were-monster. He's just like, well, I didn't know that would happen. Okay. Let's try the next thing. It's like, I don't... Is Xanatos a bad fiancé? Can we get a vote on this?
Could be better, could be worse.
Like, I don't think he's that bad. Like, he's immediately like, okay, first let's fix this. Let's not waste a bunch of time panicking. Let's just get her back.
Spilled milk.
I also think
it's also partially him compensating.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's because he's in front of Owen, and Owen helps him maintain his kind of ego and stuff like that. That's pretty much what Owen's entire
because he's got to keep up that front around Owen, which I'm only just realizing on this rewatch that like he's sort of that's a thing that like Xanatos feels like he needs to do apparently around Owen. So that's interesting.
Yeah, helps him probably function better as the evil billionaire.
So plan B is just Owen, like, calling the cops, it turns out, because he places an anonymous call. So then Elisa goes, and she finds Goliath in, like, the library next door to the police station. And he's busily reading his copy of Argus the Werewolf Spanker, because he knows that he's going to, like, need to know methods of fighting, like, were creatures. And she, like, tells him, hey, we just got an anonymous tip about, like, where the monster is, so let's go and get it. So they just go. At the same time, we then see Xanatos is tracking Fox in his gargoyle fursuit that he flies around in. So Fox runs into this meatpacking plant, and he just finds her, she's eating meat. And he says something like, oh, her constant metabolism forces her to eat constantly, which also explains why she was attacking the general store earlier in the episode.
Yeah.
Because she like, just has to eat all the time. So she attacks Xanatos, like, fucks up his suit. We get lots of, like, Iron Man, like, interior visor vision of, like, malfunction, like, that sort of thing. But he shoots another trank dart into her, which I don't know how effective these even are. Like,
not very.
Yeah, like, not effective enough. But he takes his helmet off, and, like, Fox is going to eat his face, and that's when he faints like an anime schoolgirl, and he's like, oh, please don't, like, ravish me. Like, I would hate it. Oh, please don't do that. And there is a brief moment where, like, Fox, like, comes back to herself, but then the eye, like, reasserts itself and, like, makes her go monster again.
Yeah.
But, like, she at least doesn't hurt Xanatos. Like, she runs out before, like, she lets herself do that. And then Goliath swoops in, and, like, somehow he jump kicks Fox, like, while carrying Elisa. Like, it's a maneuver that he does.
What a man.
Yeah, and then, like, Goliath and Fox wrestle. Like, there's lots of grunting and, like, moaning noises.
It's pretty much the usual way Goliath wrestles.
The usual, yeah, and, like, somewhere Xanatos' boner, like, just grew its own boner, because he's just like, I don't know what's happening, but, like, I know I'm extremely turned on.
He's just like,
by
holy
something.
crap, this is hot, off to the side.
Elisa takes out her gun, but, like, she can't get a clear shot, even though Fox is, like, extremely large.
So
and
is
is, like,
Goliath.
basically standing still, but, like, she can't shoot.
Yeah, it's very clear that the animation was supposed to be them moving back and forth, but, like, the anime just kind of missteps there. They're not actually moving.
It wasn't quite there. It's okay. But eventually Goliath overpowers Fox, because he's, like, a very strong lad. And that's when Xanatos, like, flies down. So, like, Xanatos, what are you doing here? And he says, this is a private matter. I'd appreciate no interference. And Elisa is like, is this another of your mutated victims? And he replies, let's just say I feel a certain responsibility for it. And then he reaches for the eye that Fox has, but, like, it electrocutes the fuck out of him, and he, like, flies away. I love how Xanatos, like, just gets his ass kicked repeatedly in this entire episode. Like, it's about time. And I sort of love it. And then Fox, like, is revived somehow, and she gets Goliath in another extremely sexual-looking bear hug. And she, like, this is the scene where, like, she basically, like, she introduces Goliath to petting.
Yeah.
And Goliath, like, gets a whole new understanding of, like, his sexuality.
Of course.
But, like, she asserts, like, her femdom powers on him.
Sure, he was thinking about Demona.
And, like, yeah, Goliath,
How
like,
she used
screams
to
a
do
little
that.
in his loincloth, and he's like, oh, I haven't felt like this in 1,000 years. And it's like...
Yeah.
And Elisa is also watching me like, oh, I have to remember that for later.
Oh my gosh.
But then Fox, like, runs away again. So Xanatos gets up, and Elisa's like, hold it, you're not going anywhere. And Xanatos is like, actually I am, and he just flies away. And Elisa's like, oh, yeah, I forgot he could just do that. So Elisa's distraught because she, like, this situation is similar in her mind to what happened with her brother, which is nice that the show remembered that Talon exists.
Yeah, because he's still just kind of chilling.
That's more than I usually remember of Talon. But, so she wants to, like, gather all the gargoyles and get the jewel around Fox's neck before Xanatos can, because she saw that Xanatos wanted the jewel. Excuse me.
Your excuse.
But then we see Xanatos talking to Owen. He flies to the Castle Wyvern, and he's all like, it would appear that Plan B has not been entirely successful. Hold on. Owen said that line. Let me do that part over. So Owen says, it would appear that Plan B has not been entirely successful. And Xanatos says, true, but now Plan C is in place. Goliath and company are, as usual, determined to thwart me. They'll pull out all the stops to the Ivan Fox before I do. They'll do all my work for me. And Owen says, I fail to see how it'll be any easier to be Ivan the Gargoyles than from Fox. Which I thought was interesting, because Owen thinks that Xanatos' main goal is to get the eye back.
Yeah.
Like, he isn't aware that, like, saving Fox's life is Xanatos' top priority. Which I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I can't tell
Owen.
if he's not aware or if he's purposely calling out Xanatos on the fact that it isn't his top priority.
It could be a
Maybe.
mix of... it could be a mix of both, really. So, I mean, I guess it's a viewer's dissection, really.
But, yeah, I did think that was just interesting.
Yeah, because I always read that as him calling out Xanatos, being like, this plan isn't going to work with your stated goal. You do realize this, right?
Yeah. But it turns out that Xanatos has severely miscalculated in more ways than one, because it turns out that, like, Goliath followed him to the castle and was, like, listening to everything he just said. So he hops down with Elisa and is like, I don't suppose you have a plan D.
D for dick!
D for dick! which is what you are, you little bitch. So, like, the whole scene after this is Goliath just, like, calling Xanatos out for his bullshit, and, like, it's so good.
It's very fun.
It's so good, because he's like,
you don't normally see this.
He wants to do this thing? Well, that's too bad, because we're not going to do it now. And, like, I guess, oh well, like, you have to figure out your own bullshit. So then Xanatos, like, opens up, and he's like, hold on, this situation, I thought I could handle it, but I can't. It's out of my control. And then, like, he, like, gives them an info dump. He's like, the were creature you saw is Fox. She's being affected by the jewel. And then, let's see, he says, legend says the Eye of Odin is supposed to endow the wearer of power and insight. I had no idea it had metamorphic capabilities. And then Goliath says, like, one of the meanest things possible, which is perhaps to give you some insight into Fox's real character. It seems to have made her more like herself.
Oh,
which is, like, so much. I love like, it's so savage.
He's probably been waiting for a burn like that for a while.
So Xanatos, like, keeps pleading, and then, like, Elisa jumps in. She's like, yeah, Goliath, fuck Xanatos. Like, he's never told you the truth, like, in his entire fucking life. And then, oh no, she says he couldn't tell the truth if his life depended on it. And then Xanatos says, but my life doesn't depend on this. It's Fox's life we're talking about. And Goliath's like, did you forget that I also hate that bitch too? And, oh my god! He says, why should I help her? Because you know what it means to lose someone you love.
And he puts his hand on her shoulder.
Yes, and there's the classic Xanatos putting a hand on Goliath's shoulder, and Goliath's like, get the fucking hand off me.
But
and
it's
he
too
like
late.
he like bats the hand away. He's like, no, we're not doing your homoeroticism right now. I'm busy calling it your bullshit. But it's like okay. I do feel a little bad for Xanatos, because, like, he is being genuine with them for the first time. But at the same time, I feel like even this is, like, a ploy for him.
It is.
Like, even though he is being genuine, it's also because he feels is the best way to get them to do what he wants.
Yeah.
He's
like,
just like, why won't you do what I want? It's not like I have a toxic history of lying to you about everything and manipulating you.
It's like the boy who cries wolf.
But, so, when he places his hand on the shoulder...
Yes, that's where he plants the tracking device
Yes.
between Goliath's butt cheeks somehow.
Yeah.
Which Goliath doesn't know about till later on, because he's too dummy thick to, like, ever reach back there.
Does Xanatos always have tracking devices, like, coming out of his sleeves or something?
He's like,
Well, he's in the iron suit this time, so...
Oh, yeah, he's still wearing
Well,
that.
yeah. Okay,
So he can probably just, like, put it on whatever he wants just by placing his hand on it.
Fair. Oh, that's good technology. We'll have to invest in that.
But, like, so basically, Goliath and Elisa just, like, tell him to eat shit and leave.
Also, Elisa is like, don't you get it, Goliath? This is his plan D.
Yes!
So now plan D's been...
Yeah, plan D
covered.
is eliminated, and now he'll move on to plan E or F, as she says. Yeah. But, like, okay, I just love this, because they tell him to eat shit, they don't care that Fox is gonna die, and then they just go to a Halloween party.
Oh,
and they're like, you know what? We're going to enjoy the rest of our night. We're not going to let this ruin it for us.
We're recovering. We're thriving. We're not going to get in the way of that bullshit with your bullshit. It's a power move.
It's such a power
So good. So we see this huge crowd, like, everyone's in costume, like, it's a block party, so, like, they're all on the street.
Yeah.
Everyone looks great. I wanted to do one of these in real life. But, the trio are also here. They're all dressed up in costumes. Lexington has, like, this day pilot outfit on, and he's, like, clearly they're, like, to cruise, because he's, like, checking out other costumes and, like, other men in them. Brooklyn is dressed like a day pirate, with like hoop earrings and an eye patch, and yes, it's the same eye that he's gonna lose later on in Time Dancer, so that's some, like, more fucked up foreshadowing that we get for that.
Ooh.
Like, they always use Halloween to, like, foreshadow random things. They're gonna do it later in the comics too. Also,
yeah.
you mentioned, Sid, that he looks like the gay biker gang. That,
Yeah.
like, he wanted to join that one time.
Yeah, but I was before I got to that part when you sent that frame, and from the side he did look like one of them, but then it's like, when I got to that scene with the Halloween thing, I saw the eye patch and stuff, I'm like, oh, he's just a pirate wearing a vest.
Just a pirate. Just a sexy
But,
pirate.
I mean, there's similarities, I guess.
And
but-
Broadway is there wearing his, like, flasher detective trench coat.
So, according to the, Ask Greg blog, they knew right from the start, obviously, that Broadway's costumes. They'd already decided that during the previous episode.
Right.
So that was simple enough. They'd also had been all planning for ages for Elisa's costume. Like, all of them had been waiting for that
They
moment.
wanted to do the Beauty and the Beast thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
from the start. So those two were settled. Apparently, everyone was just in unanimous agreement that Brooklyn had to be a pirate. There was no discord.
He has that energy to him.
Yeah.
He has that fuckboy energy that, like, yeah, I'm gonna be a pirate.
But Lexington, on the other hand, they were like down to the wire trying to decide his costume, and they were like, he was probably also down to the wire picking his costume in character.
Well, he did technically
Okay, that is
pilot,
that gay energy that he can't pick what he wants to be because he wants to be all of the costumes.
No, I'm pretty sure he had a conscious decision picking to pilot a costume because one, he did pilot a helicopter.
Yeah,
Oh, I
earlier.
forgot about
That
that.
is why they went with that.
Oh, that
And
makes sense.
Two, he probably watched Top Gun and got a little bit of a gay awakening because that's a
Oh
very
my
gay
God.
movie.
Also, I think in another episode, he discussed wanting to learn how to fly a plane, I believe.
Cool.
Yeah, he wants to be just a gay pilot boy.
My boyfriend's a pilot.
So, like, that is why they went with that. But, like, his costume was the one that they were like, what are we going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else, they're like, oh, yes, they have to be these things.
But, okay, so they're all in costume, but they look, like, vaguely concerned about, like, fitting in. But their costumes are a hit. Everyone loves their cool idea of wearing a costume over another costume.
Okay, but you know who says that line?
Vinny.
Vinny!
I got that
I
too.
recognize his voice, Vinny the Pie Man, but I don't know what costume he's wearing or where he is in this shot.
So, according to the Ask Greg again,
Who is Vinny? Where is he?
when that line reading was given, everyone loved the voice so much they decided they needed to make a character for it. So, like, we don't know which character Vinny was dressed as here.
That's so great.
But this is one of the strands of things that led to Vinny becoming a character.
I love it. He says, like, I can't even do his voice. He's like, cool costumes, man. Like, I can't even do it. He has,
No.
like, the most distinctive voice, like, in animation history.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the voice actor, he's also in the Penguins of Madagascar as Kowalski.
Is
Yep.
he?
And I want to see if he is really quick in the Jimmy Neutron series because I definitely identify a few voices from there that sound pretty similar to Vinny's. If I can find it on his Wikipedia. Yep. Oh, he was Skeet! He was Skeet from Jimmy Neutron! The guy...
Oh my God.
Big McThankies from McSpankies.
Spankies.
That's
Yeah.
that's the restaurant.
Yeah, that's where they all hung out all the time, and Jimmy Neutron was mixed Binkies.
I've never seen Jimmy Neutron.
It's a very strange show. He was in
Yeah.
Codename Kids Next Door. He was the Crows in the Stuart Little Show. Lilo and Stitch series. He was.
He's also Brooklyn's voice, for the record.
Oh, shit!
okay.
I didn't even think about that.
Oh, yeah, that guy's been in, like, everything.
So yeah, because like obviously they just got for the crowd. They just got a bunch of voice
Yeah,
actors
yeah.
who were
Hey,
already in there. to do great
everybody
jobs.
come in here, just do some voices.
Blitz
Like
from
that.
Road Rovers.
Oh,
Oh, wait, okay. Is he the one who was, like, naked in the shower?
Yes.
And then he had to run away?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, with, like,
Um,
the German accent or the Russian accent? Some sort of accent?
German, because Blitz was German.
Oh, my God.
And
he's also played Lumiere several times.
he's also Johnny Bravo
Okay.
and Dexter's dad.
I love Dexter's dad. Okay, so he's been many famous roles.
He's got a really he's got a good voice for this kind of
He
work.
can do a lot. He has a lot of variety.
Yeah.
Oh
Damn.
yeah.
Hot
He
diggity
also has
damn.
played Zazu at times. I'm trying to think. Like he's been in so many.
Petrie from Land Before Time sequels. I don't know if he was in the original.
Oh, I love Petrie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's in most of them, so I'm assuming he's just Petrie.
He's also the radio broadcaster from Legend of Korra.
Cool.
Ooh.
So, like, that should be a voice that people can think of. Oh, and he was in Siegfried and Roy, Masters of the Impossible, as you might recall.
But we don't remember who he was.
Not off the top of my head. But I just
He's
remember
not
just-
casted. He's not.
Siegfried and Roy, Master of the Impossible.
God.
That wonder of animation,
Yeah.
which we have to rewatch that sometime because it's
No.
beautiful. It's 4 wonderful episodes.
It gave me such a headache. I had to keep pausing just to catch up with what the fuck was going
And
on.
it was that was giving us headaches.
There's a tiger in it. It's great. Anyone listening, find
What,
it
you
on
wanted
YouTube.
me to keep going?
It's free.
Maybe.
It's great.
He also, and this one's relevant to you, was in Hunchback of Notre Dame as
That's
one of
right.
Frollo's soldiers.
Nice. I wonder if he was like the stupid one or like the other stupid one. Because 2 of them get lines.
Okay.
Like when
You
Phoebus
would
first
know
gets
that.
into the city, he's like, "Can you direct me to the whatever the place?" And they like give him some shit, and then like he cuts off one of their mustaches, and then his horse sits on another one.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah.
I don't need to talk about Hunchback of Notre Dame, even though it's highly relevant to everyone. Always.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
gargoyles.
Back to Gargoyles. So there's some fun sight gags, like a medieval lady like compliments Broadway's on his hat, and like a witch says like in a very male voice like how cool their costumes are, and like blah blah blah. There's a medieval jester here. Like the costumes are crazy.
Yeah.
It's
I mean-
Clopin from Hunchback of Notre Dame. We're going to talk about Hunchback
I
some
want to go as
more.
a jester.
He's
for
prancing
Halloween.
around. There's like Emperor Caesar and Cleopatra in the background. There's like half a dozen fursuits. It's great.
It's New York City on Halloween.
Yeah.
So.
But then who should arrive but the belles of the ball? Goliath and Elisa are there. Elisa is literally Isbelle from Beauty and the Beast, the Disney version, Natch.
Yeah.
Because they have the rights to it, which obviously makes Goliath our beast. Goliath did not dress up because he's too dignified to bother dressing up. He's no fun. He will never dress up for Halloween. He didn't dress up in the comics either. He doesn't do dressing up.
He prefers just wearing a loincloth wherever he goes.
He prefers just loincloths.
He likes to feel the breeze between his knees. You know what I'm saying?
Every hour is the loincloth hour for him.
Yeah.
But she tells him, "Come on, I want to stroll down a city street with you for a long time." And they do like this courtly bow to each other, and they're just dancing.
This
Which
is
is
on
the
the
exact dance
sidewalk.
from Beauty and the Beast.
Okay, is it?
Yes.
yeah.
So they're
This is a date.
they're cosplaying and like having this fun dance number while Fox is off dying someplace. I just have to bring it up again because I just think it's like the funniest thing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And the trio are also watching them, and they're like, "Oh, Halloween should come like more than once a year because like Goliath and Elisa are being so cute
Yeah,
together."
they love them together.
And
Their
it's
parents.
adorable. Yes, they're happy their parents are finally getting together. But then, so after the 2 of them, they're just like strolling along. They like they like wander down an alley for some reason, but then they hear a ferocious growl, and they turn around. There's like a sort of hot wolf man standing there. So like Goliath like immediately charges, knocks him down, straddles him sexually, but then like it turned out to just like be a guy in costume. He's like, "Hey dude, be cool," and like, don't growl at random people if you don't want them to like assault you. I guess like you shouldn't be growling at them, sir. But anyway, then Goliath just says, "Things are not always what they seem."
What the fuck?
Which is his way of trying to recover his dignity and failing.
But it's his way of like coming around to the subject at hand, which is him being like, "What if Xanatos like wasn't actually lying, and maybe
Yeah.
we should save Fox because like she is still a danger to the city, and like,
Okay,
did we do
but-
the right thing back
But it's
there?"
not the city.
His
It's
his
my
castle,
city. My
Yeah,
castle, my
uh-huh,
city.
my city.
Which, you know, 1 year ago at this point, back during season 1, it was always Xanatos' city.
Right.
But now he's changed his wording and finally called it my city.
Character development.
He also says, and if someone like Xanatos can love, perhaps there's still hope for this world.
I think.
Just
I
like-
think
He's like in full
okay,
sack mode now.
Okay, but I think the scene is actually very important, you know, where he attacks the guy in the werewolf costume, because it shows that even when he wants to have a good time, just forget about Xanatos' perils and
he's
ploys.
still always on edge.
Yeah.
Well, that too, but, you know, he has his moral, you know, code to just kind of
Right.
uphold, doing the right thing, which is even if he doesn't
want to,
Fox
yeah.
or Xanatos, he still thinks that, maybe he can't just let that just go under the rug. Like, maybe it's a sense of guilt, maybe it's a sort of surfacing of that same kind of guilt he had in season 1 where he wants to protect the city. That's what he kind of anointed that towards,
Maybe.
Yeah.
And Xanatos did act on his guilt earlier, where he was like, you know what it's like to lose someone you love. It's like...
So I guess I'm done.
Yeah. So Elisa's all like, oh my fucking... Like, you want to help him, don't you? And Dahlia's like, I do. And then it turns out that Xanatos is also in the alley. Like, he just said,
Shadow
like,
Man.
he's in the shadows.
The Shadow Man Xanatos.
Like, he's just lurking, and he also has this, like, extremely sinister-looking trench coat on. I don't know... We're all wearing trench coats this episode. So they're like, how the fuck are you here? And, like, Xanatos, like, reaches around, like, goes, like, inside Goliath's ass, like, pulls out the tracker he planted there, and he's like, up to my old tricks. So Goliath's like, stop putting things in my ass, or I will fucking murder you. Sorry.
It's a very, like, enlightened perspective on how the show works, and I love that.
But, like, so they all just, like, agree to help each other for, like, for the greater good. And then they go back to the trio, who they suddenly hear, like, some ferocious roaring, and then, like, people running, like, screaming out of some building. So they're going to head in, but Goliath is like, you three stay outside to the trio. We'll handle this. And he, Xanatos, and Elisa goes in. Elisa's packing heat now, by the way.
Yep.
It's if you ever want to see Belle with a gun, like, this is the episode for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so this is going to be a slight tangent.
Go ahead.
But they run inside, and I had to immediately pause because of the background art. So we've got, like, this cute little black cat on the wall, a partial witch. The windows are all glowing from the lights outside, where, like, it's now been diffused into this rosy glow, shining over into this room. It's just really gorgeous background art.
I don't know what this building is supposed to be.
I have no idea. I couldn't tell.
Like, maybe it's like a place for kids, maybe? Because, like, the stuff on the wall looks like, you know, like stuff you might see in a classroom or something like that. Like a community center. I don't know what it is. It looks nice, though. But, I just thought this part was extremely funny. Just, they all go to stand, like, in the middle of the room, and they see, like, Fox, like, up above them.
Oh my god.
And Fox, like, jumps down at them, and, like, Goliath sort of, like, leads Elisa, like, off to the side. And then, like, Xanatos is just standing there, and he looks after them like, wait, you didn't, like, pull me away, too. And then, like, Fox just, like, jumps on him. Like, I don't know why Xanatos just stood there. He's like, why didn't you save me too, Goliath? It's like...
Jealous.
But, okay, not only does she stand up there and pose, but she's posing in front of the full moon.
Yeah,
which is so
of
big and
course.
bright. And it's, like, shining to the point where it looks like the sun, not the moon.
Classic Gargoyles, like, humongous full moon at all times.
It's a werewolf episode, too, so, I mean,
Yes,
full moon's kind of...
If
But
there's
yeah,
any
it
time-
literally doesn't even look like the moon in the sun. It looks like the
It's
sun is
so
behind her.
much.
I didn't notice.
So Fox, like, sexually straddles Xanatos some more until, like, Goliath gets there, and then, like, the two of them wrestle and moan for, like, 10 fucking minutes. Elisa is, like... Okay, Elisa takes out her gun to use it, but Xanatos takes the gun, crumples it, and then gives it back to her.
Which is the exact same thing that Goliath did in Awakening.
She just can't hold on to a piece, man.
And she just sort of looks at it like, why did you give it back, you asshole? Like, it's high comedy. And then outside, we see our problematic faves, Brendan and Marco Yale,
Yep.
pull up in their car, like, just in time for Goliath to, like, hurtle out of the doors, like, into their car. They're not in costume, by the way. They're just wearing the same outfits they always do. Like,
Squares.
they're squares. But, like, their car is fucked up. Their car is fucked up every time they show up in it.
Yeah, half the time before the Gargoyles even arrive.
Yeah.
I hope that had insurance.
Give them your wallet, Brendan.
She locked him out of the car. Do you remember that?
Oh my
shit?
god, like she is bad.
She's
a bad person. So okay, so like Goliath gets up, and like, did you notice this part where the trio come over to like check on him, and like Lexington like touches Goliath's arm, and then Goliath like flexes it for him, and I was like, why did he do that?
He's just indulging in Lexington's awakening sexuality. Like, yeah, I know you like that.
I feel like he can't help but just like flex, like just any time.
The Gargoyles are close.
They're close.
They're
They
very
seem like
close.
good friends.
Mm-hmm.
But then like Were Fox comes stomping out too, and like everyone's like, "Run! Look out! Real monsters!" Which like I feel like that's a shout out to Real Monsters, the cartoon, which had also started airing that same year, but like it probably isn't.
It might
But
be.
maybe it was. I don't know. But Fox jumps on Brennan Margot's wrecked car to like then climb up a building, and then Goliath follows her and like also jumps on the car.
Yeah, like he didn't even have to do that.
He didn't have to, but he chose to do that.
Like, fine, I can do that too.
And then like the trio are like watching them climb up, and Broadway for some reason like chews his hat, like to the extent that he like rips it apart.
He's in nervous tension.
Okay, that's either he's worried about Goliath, or he's like
Really
Goliath
hungry.
just like flashed his entire ass at them again, and he was just like overcome with like with
Overcome with cum.
He's like, oh, that ass, and just like tears through his hat. I don't know.
I don't
mean,
know.
my notes just says he then eats his hat with no. That's all I wrote.
I feel like it's like a nervous tick, like the way people bite their nails with tension, except like, you know, he has talons, so they're too tough to bite, so he bites his hat instead.
I feel like he saw Goliath's ass. That's my
Headcanon.
That's my headcanon.
I like it.
So, okay, they jump to the top of this building. Goliath and Fox are, like, stalking each other, like, in the shadows. At the same time, Xanatos flies up there with Elisa.
Well-
So she's like, I'm not letting you out of my sight.
Well, she yells, I trust you about as far as I can throw you, Xanatos, and throws her arm around him.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't have time to argue,
don't
and
have
just
time to
blasts
argue.
off, carrying him.
I feel like sometimes I halfway want to ship them together, because they always have a really good rapport.
They do.
And, like, I like that they fucking hate each other, but, like, at the same time, they sort of like each other. I've always felt like.
Elisa's kind of always seen through his bullshit.
Yeah, and, like, Xanatos is sort of, like, into that. He's like,
Yeah.
I like that you fucking hate me, and...
He's a hate-monger.
Yes. He feeds on it.
But then we see Fox drooling, and it's just like really well animated drool coming down.
There's a lot of good drool in this episode.
Yeah, she's hungry.
So the two of them get up there, and, like, Fox, like, yeah, she turns her attention on them. And, like, there's this weird, trippy scene where, like, we're looking through Fox's eyes at Xanatos and Elisa, but, like, we're seeing their, like, chakra or something. Like, we see, like, waves of energy
It's like animal
coming
vision.
off them or something.
Mystical animal vision.
I don't know what, maybe it's insight from the Eye of Odin. I don't know. But then, like, Elisa, like, morphs into, like, Fox, like, human Fox. So it's like, oh, like, where Fox is seeing a rival female next to Xanatos.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Which is funny because, like, she has no problem with, like, Owen sucking Xanatos off every Thursday, like, for his weekly bonus, but, like, another lady standing next to Xanatos is, like, a huge deal for her.
I feel like she doesn't see Owen as a threat because they both use Owen as a toy, really.
I mean, I feel like under normal circumstances she would not see Elisa as a threat.
No,
It's only
'cause
because she's.
I don't feel
No.
like Fox, the person, is threatened by, like, anything
No,
that these do-gooders
I think
do.
the thing with that vision she has is like she sees herself formed into Lisa's vision, and she's like, it should be me next to him, not you,
Maybe.
or something like that. I don't know,
Or
but
she's been replaced.
or something like that. I don't. She's a werewolf right now. She's not thinking clearly.
But, like,
No.
this is the second time a lady has seen Elisa next to a man and, like, freaked the hell out of her.
Yeah,
Just
Demona
did
did the same thing.
Yeah.
So, like, Elisa just, I don't know.
She-
Like, other
it's
girls
'cause
just
she's
get
such a
jealous of her.
badass.
She
She just-
has that energy, I guess.
Making the other girls jealous.
Mhm.
She's an icon.
Yep. She's not like other girls.
She's
So-
not.
All of this is taking place in front of this like sickly green glowing neon sign.
Yes, and that will turn out to be important because there's a slow motion
Well-
shot. Yeah.
The sign says, which I had to piece together,
What's it say?
Mercury Building. So then I had to look it up, like why the heck does it say Mercury Building? So it turns out it's a reference to Highlander, and
What?
it's called Mercury Building because of Freddie Mercury from Queen.
What is that?
I'm not making this
Is
up.
that even a reference by that point? It's like 3 degrees of separation from what you're referencing.
But that's what they said on the S. Greg blog, was that it was a reference to Highlander. They put Freddie Mercury's
What is
name on it.
is Freddie Mercury in Highlander? Is
He
he?
sings the theme song.
Oh, he
Okay,
does.
I didn't know that.
Oh, okay,
Of
I
the
didn't
TV
know
show,
that.
at least. I don't know about the movie.
I know he did the Flash theme song.
I'm not surprised that they're Eddie Mercury fans.
Freddie Mercury.
Freddie.
You said Eddie.
Oh, sorry.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
I said Freddie.
You're
I meant
forgiven.
to say Freddie.
I just thought I'd point it out.
Eddie, Freddie, same difference.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Eddie Mercury. He's a hit. So there's a slow motion shot of Fox like jumping at Elisa, and then Goliath like comes in and like knocks her away, and like he like slams her to this electrified build, the neon sign we were just talking about. So Fox is like getting electrocuted. Goliath's holding her against it, and he yells at Xanatos like, "Now!" So Xanatos gets to get the eye off, but like the eye already electrocuted him the first time he did this, but now also there's more electricity because Fox is being electrocuted. So like this is their plan though. So like they all do it. Everyone's being electrocuted. Like everyone's being fried. There's this crazy flash of light. Everyone goes flying. Then we see Xanatos is holding the eye of Odin. So like he got it off her.
Brooklyn's in the distance, eating popcorn as he watches.
Oh my,
Yeah.
Brooklyn has the same reaction Xanatos had earlier, where like his boner has like its own boner, and he's just
Yeah.
like, I'm missing out on something. I know I am, but why? But Fox, she gives like one more like feral roar before we see her transform back, and this shot is really good too. Like it's not as like they don't put as many frames into it, but like we see like her snout like compress back into her face and like her fur disappear and everything. But she's just like laying on the building like naked.
And is this the most nudity? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, granted, there's nudity every episode, but this is like naked.
This is
You know,
very-
I saw
it's naked.
Fox's bare butt.
We see a little of her butt. But apparently the bottom of Elisa's dress is detachable. Because she, like, runs over with it to cover Fox up. Maybe that's a thing that dresses can do.
Wait,
yeah,
she's
because
Lisa.
So that style of dress is typically has a metal structure under it to actually give it that poof out.
Uh-huh.
Because obviously, like a dress wouldn't fall naturally like that.
No, and I almost say for, like, a massive
So yeah,
dress.
there actually needs to be a separate piece in order to attach the hoop to
Okay,
it.
cool.
Although, as you can tell from the way she undoes it, it's not actually done like a proper dress. It's just done only well enough to last for Halloween.
Yeah.
I just love Elisa involving herself in clothing Fox up. Like, wait, no, this is a kid's show. We can't show boobies here.
And plus, it's like woman solidarity.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like, we're
true.
the only two women here. We're gonna watch out for
I don't
each
think
other.
Fox would give a shit, though. Like,
I
if
don't
people
know.
saw her naked.
I don't know.
She's confident enough.
She is
Has high
confident.
sexual prowess. She wouldn't care.
But, Elisa's being a bro.
Yeah.
And then... Okay, then a helicopter lands with Owen in it. We're at the end of the episode, basically. Fox is alive, like, Xanatos is very grateful, and then Goliath is like, you're gonna give the Eye of Odin to me. And Xanatos is like, as a trade, and Goliath says, let's just say, I don't trust you with it. And Xanatos is like, oh, so now you know my weakness. And Goliath is like, only you would regard love as a weakness, you fucking dipshits. So they're just like, all the heroes leave. They're like, we're done with these people. And then Owen also gets a dig in, like, to be just because he says, actually, Mr. Xanatos, I believe he's right. You've never looked more heroic.
And he's very clearly smiling again.
Uh-huh. And there's like a very long pause before Xanatos is like, a momentary lapse, I assure you. And then
And of course, at the moment, he's posing by the helicopter with the wind whipping
With the
by
wind,
him,
yes.
Fox in his arms,
Uh-huh.
and he's still looking
the sun
incredibly
is coming
heroic.
up, And then Fox wakes up and she's like, "Oh, what happened?" And Xanatos just says, "It was a bad dream, but it's all over now."
This whole month you were turning into a werewolf was just a bad dream. You were in a coma.
Why is every time we watch something werewolf related, they tell the werewolf at the end that it was just a bad dream?
Tell them that they were becoming a werewolf.
Like, this is a running pattern with everything we watch now.
Yeah, I've noticed.
The same thing happened in Cybersex.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. But yeah, so that is the episode. I thought it was outstanding, personally.
Yeah.
I always remembered it was good, but like I forgot like how good it was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I liked it.
I love this episode.
What would you guys rate this episode out of 5 loincloths?
What would you rate it?
Probably a 5. It's pretty good.
5 loincloth.
Yeah. I have no complaints. I mean, maybe a few animation flubs, but not really anything worth nitpicking.
I mean, we don't get any Hudson, which is...
Yeah, I do kind of... Yeah, that's like the one thing that was kind of hesitant on it, but it's like, Hudson's just living his best life back at the tower.
He's living his life as a stripper.
Yeah, that's true.
Like Spiffy True that one time.
He animated.
Yeah. Guys, if you haven't checked out our Twitter or our Discord, you should, and you'll see cool animations that people make and that we retweet there.
Yeah. We always support fan art, animations, whatever. We like to see it.
They're so good.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would rate this one a 4.8 loincloths.
Okay.
Only because I'm docking like a percentage. Because
0.2.
one, there's like no gay content in this, other than Xanatos like touching Goliath's shoulder that one time. And also like the setup does feel a little weird to me. That like Xanatos gave Fox this magical artifact, which he knew did something, but he didn't know like exactly what, and then didn't tell her about it. And also Fox didn't tell him that like, oh, by the way, I'm having like memory lapses every fucking night, and like I just wake up naked in places. Like, I don't know why they're keeping secrets from each other. This is not a good foundation for a marriage, which we know they're gonna have.
It's almost like they're
Next
both terrible
episode.
people who don't know how to be honest with other people.
Yeah.
Like, I love them, but I'm just like, guys, like, talk to each other. What is happening here?
They have to grow.
I do have to question, like, how the heck did it take him 30 days to realize something was going on?
I don't
and then,
know.
Why did he wait until sunset to ask for the...
Like, I'm so primed to think, like, oh, he's up to something. But, so it's almost like whiplash and be like, oh, wait, he has no idea what's even happening.
Yeah.
And now he's, like, in full, like, he's off balance, like, the whole rest of the episode. So, like, it's, like, it is almost fun to see him, like, doing that. Because, like, he was prepared for, like, plans A, B, C, and D. But, like, after that, like, he didn't have anything left. And, like, he needed the Gargoyles to help him. So, yeah, like... I am nitpicking. Like, I love the episode. I think it's great. I'm just, like, it feels weird in parts.
I just enjoy seeing Xanatos finally not know what the fuck is going on. It was very fun and satisfying. I mean, there are little instances here and there where you might think that is happening, but this case, it was genuinely happening.
It's beautiful. I like that they told him to eat shit.
That was a good scene.
I love the transformation, of course. That's probably the most famous thing from this episode for, like, TF fetishists. Like, I know that they love this episode.
So that would be the horniest moment, then, for animators.
Probably.
What else is there?
There's the scene where she comes back in the trench coat, and we're, like...
We see a lot of leg in
We
that
see a
scene.
lot of leg. They're, like... want to go as far as they can up that leg in that scene.
It's very naked. Naked.
Yeah, Fox is naked 95% of this episode.
Let's see. I wrote down 4 instances. Like, I'm probably going to go with the transformation as the best one. There's also just when she ripped her coat off. Oh, that was in the transformation, but just like that moment was really belittling. all the time she and Goliath were just like wrestling. There's a lot of wrestling. And then that random moment when Goliath like flexed his arm for Lexington, I was just like, I don't know why that was there, but I did enjoy it.
In my opinion, I think the horniest moment of the entire episode is when Fox is straddling Xanatos to the bed.
The bed.
Yeah.
That's the best
I was
one
gonna bring
because she's in prime heat, and like you said on the blog or whatever, that there was it was good that Owen got there in time, otherwise.
Yeah, it's one of the few times we have confirmation that the animators did indeed have kinky things in mind when they were animating this.
And like you even see like her claws like dig into like the mattress and like tear down and like leave like trails in it.
She was about to milk that poor man dry. Like she was about to ride him into the sun.
Trying to crush his pelvis to dust.
There needs to be more porn of that scene.
Yeah,
I'm kind of insulted the internet hasn't written enough about it yet.
I am impressed. Yes. Oh, man.
Okay, so just for funsies, I'm going to list off all of Xanatos' plans from this episode.
Okay.
Letter by letter. So, we start with Plan A. Just ask for it.
Ask for it.
His backup Plan A. Trink dart her and take it from her by force. When that failed, Plan B was to place the anonymous call, yes, but also to put on the Steel Clan armor and, again, take it by force.
Yes.
Until he got electrocuted.
Tracker, yeah.
So then Plan C came into fruition, where the call paid off and Goliath and Elisa showed up to get it. But they didn't manage to actually get it. So he wanted to leave that going, but of course Plan C got blown up by them tracking him back and overhearing his plan. So Plan D, as Elisa put it, was to appeal to Goliath's better nature, as well as touch his shoulder and place another tracker.
Which did work, it just took a little while.
It kind of did.
And then,
there was a delayed payoff for it.
So that moved on to Plan E, which was just follow Goliath and pray that he changes his mind, because he did nothing
Follow
better
him
to
like
do.
a creeper.
It worked.
And Plan E is the one that succeeded somehow.
It just goes to show, if at first you don't succeed, try again with a different backup plan.
With a different letter from the alphabet.
Yes.
Alright.
Who was the gayest character in the episode?
Xanatos for all how touchy he was with Goliath. Or maybe Goliath because of how touchy he let Lexington with his arm for that one scene. My first contender's probably Xanatos.
Those are sort of the only ones I have, because otherwise it's like a very straight focused episode. Like we focus mostly on Xanatos and Fox, and then Goliath and Elisa.
Okay, it's straight, but it's unconventional straight, because it's like female dominance and prowess. That is the primary focus.
Both of them do have very unusual relationships, which like that's what I need to like ship straight couples in media. Like I need them to be like weird in some way. And these are both like they're both very weird, so like I can get into this.
Like Goliath and Elisa. What's another one? Like Femshep and Garrus. There's like two. Beast and Belle.
Beast and Belle.
I wonder how I thought that one up.
We all have our straight ships.
From
time to time. In moments of weakness. Only you would see love as a weakness.
But I mean, I'd probably go with Xanatos. Or what about Goliath for getting pegged by Fox for
Hey, that's
seconds?
not gay. Straight men can enjoy petting once they stop being such dipshits.
What about Fox
it.
for tackling Elisa in the were-beast form? That's kind of gay.
Yeah.
Like it's like girl on girl.
That's another way to view that scene. What if she sees Xanatos and is like, oh, he doesn't appeal to me. Then she sees Elisa and is like, oh, she kind of reminds me of myself. And I'm the hottest person in the room. So that's why she then jumps on Elisa like, I've chosen you.
Fox is canonically not straight, so I mean she's pansexual as fuck.
Yeah.
Like
okay, I like that scene a lot more now.
Yeah.
We fixed the scene.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I kind of want to go to Fox now. Not only that, but her werewolf form is very, She identifies as female, but I mean her werewolf form is very masculine, so you could see that as gender non-conforming.
Like I sort of wonder if like the Eye of Odin transformed her into like a male form, but like I guess it's like or like are werefoxes they just don't have the same like secondary sexual characteristics that we do. But
Perhaps.
like I don't like it's.
But there's
This
still
episode is
mammals,
always.
so...
I've always seen it as like just a very masculine form. But that might just be me.
I said they're still mammals, so...
Yeah, I don't know. We have a bunch of emails, don't we?
We do, yes, we do. But first, I really, really do have to go to the bathroom really
Okay.
quick. So I'm just gonna cut this part and just do that.
No, we're gonna keep it. It's gonna be part of the show.
He wants to dominate us, dominate us, dominate us.
Alright, so first one's by Artizek, who we love and who has been a great mutual of mine for like nearly half a decade now. He responds in his email, he says in his email, "Hey Loincloth lads." Ooh, that's our game name now.
Laddies.
Yeah, Loincloth lads.
A loincloth. I don't know if I'm
I
gonna
like-
take that.
I've always liked the word lad.
I like the alliteration.
It starts with an L. They both start with L's.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
why it's alliteration.
He says, "Oh, never mind. My app just like."
Oh, fucked.
Okay, I got it. Hold on.
His email broke. It was too
you-
powerful.
Why is it?
What?
Do you
It's
see what I
rejecting
am
you.
seeing?
Yeah, it's like an Evangelion where the
What
blood rejects.
Oh, I had it already
your
and
id
open.
your super
It
ego
just
and
gave me a
everything.
pop-up and then disappeared. Okay, I'm gonna close it and then I'm going to reopen it.
You want to just read mine?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Hey, Loincloth lads. Another great episode, but I don't get why Xanatos isn't happier with Fox as a werewolf wife. Hasn't he proved to us time and time again that he's a shameless furry? I'm sure he was hard the entire time Fox was pinning him to the bed. Maybe even harder than when Goliath brought up Plan D, Lenny. And then he adds a little Lenny face after that. I forgot the Beauty and the Beast cosplay was in this episode. It couldn't be a better match for Elisa and Goliath. I always loved human/non-human pairings. Do you have any favorites? Until next time, Artizek. It's funny that he says that because I actually was listing a few favorites earlier.
Yeah, like that's what we were just talking about. Artizek is on our wavelength.
Yeah, even though he has 2 different fonts in his email.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
He probably is. It's fine. It's fine. We love it. I love the style.
Another, just speaking of human and non-human pairings, I always liked the Beauty and the Beast series from I think the 90s where Ron Perlman was Beast.
That's a
that
good
was another
one.
really good one.
That's a good
I
one.
just like any Beauty and the Beast shit. I've always been a sucker for that. I still need to watch The Shape of Water because I feel like I'd also be super into
I have the
that
book.
too. Oh, I didn't even know there was a book.
Yeah,
Cool.
It was like a birthday or Christmas gift, I believe. But yeah, I have the book, even though I haven't seen the movie yet. But I need to.
Maybe we should check that out on the Discord sometime with everybody.
I think that'd be a good one. Yeah. Gosh, there's already so much that I know for human non-human pairings, but I can't think of like the more main ones.
Like I feel like there's a bunch, and I can't think of any right now. Either.
I mean,
but
what-
I always like it though when I see it.
Yeah, same.
Do you have any, Hiran? Do you have any favorite pairings?
I was thinking,
It'll come to us.
yeah.
I mean, I think my all-time favorite's probably still Femshep and Garrus, but that's just my preference.
It's because you're a freak.
Yeah, I am. It's because I identify with badass redheads who know how to get shit done.
I love how you also have a redheaded femme shop.
Yeah.
Oh, I even wrote one of those pairings in my Argus the Werewolf Spanker series. Just Argus and Renly are the pairing in that.
Mhm.
So yeah.
So that's good. That's really...
Yeah. If you like it enough, just start making your own.
Mhm.
That's what I do.
Exactly. Alright, so thank you so much for the email, Artizek. Hopefully that answered your inquiries about our favorites.
Oh boy.
Oh, this is a Remy email, I can tell.
You want me to read it, or?
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah, you can read it.
Sure, okay.
Um,
Okay.
if you
Ow.
need that.
Okay. Hello again.
Just attacked him with the mouse.
Sorry.
Hello again, Loincloth Hour crew. Couldn't help but noticed the humorous tone of your last episode. Don't know why, but the humor seems to be riding high last episode. There were a bunch of moments that had me sticking out loud and was really enjoyable.
Live, laugh, love. That's our motto.
And from that, we move on to another fun episode. With another list of stuff that stood out to me. Let's see. I always dislike those unnecessarily long tables that rich people use for dinner. Marriage proposal was peculiar, but oddly endearing. So Weird Fox hits the same store that was being held up during the episode Reawakening.
Yeah, that guy just has bad luck.
Not as last time with bad luck either.
Mr. Jaff.
Or Cafe. We don't know yet.
We don't know. It's one of the two. After Xanatos said time for plan A, it cuts to a store. Their sign spelling Halloween with one L made my inner writer cringe. How did none of us catch that?
You know, I tried to take fewer notes this time. I did notice that, but I did not include it in my synopsis.
I did not notice it.
I have a minimal focus rate, so I didn't notice anything really.
I took a lot of the notes this time. What was it with Brooklyn making that stink-ass frowny face at Broadway?
Okay, I noticed that too. Yeah, that was when the trio were first talking about Halloween.
And that was in my notes too, yeah.
Yeah, because Brooklyn says something like, we can finally... What, did you have the exact lines?
Yes, I have it in my notes. Hold on, let me get back onto my computer. I just closed my notes because I'm like, oh, we're done with the notes.
I might have it.
I have it right here. Hold on.
Where's my notes?
Here it is.
Oh, he has it?
Yes.
Thank you for listening, everyone, as we try to get ourselves together.
We have a lot of technology.
Here we go. So, we can go out and no one will know who we are.
Or what we are.
No, and Broadway's just like, better yet, no one will know what we are.
Yeah, and Brooklyn looks at him like, why the fuck did you say that? Even though that's like, that's what he's talking about.
But it was completely unnecessary. He just was being pedantic about it, and he was like, "Why are you being pedantic with me?
So it's
I'm
just like,
fully in Brooklyn's corner on this."
So
one.
it's just us, like a typical conversation between you and me. In
exactly.
other words,
Better than that, people won't
I am
know.
Broadway in this conversation.
People won't know what we are, and what we are is gay.
Oh, it would have been fun. So funny if like Hudson chimed in with that.
Yes!
What we are is gay, lads.
Oh, I love it.
Give Hudson a line.
Okay, so to finish that off, was it due to Broadway's statement about no one knowing what they are being more accurate and making more sense than Brooklyn's statement? Chicken-faced cockwobble.
What the what?
Yeah!
I'm just reading here. I don't understand.
I love it.
Fox's transformation scene is amazing, and Xanatos' reaction shot is so cheesy that it's funny. The fight and escape that followed was quite entertaining, too. The scene at the meat factory totally gave me Predator 2 vibes.
Ooh. I've never seen a Predator movie, even though I know there's lots of shirtless men in them.
I've seen the first one. I've seen clips of the second one. The first one's really the only one that matters.
How did Elisa know that the creature was a female? I guess because there's no visible naughty bits?
I guess?
Wait,
does she? Did she refer to it as her?
I think she did.
I mean, you know, a vagina can be just as noticeable as a penis. I'm just gonna put that out there.
But,
Yeah,
I mean, with
especially
fur,
if
it
Fox
could
is
be
in heat.
hidden. With long fur, it could have been better, easier to hide.
Well, maybe the fur's not as long downstairs as it is
Oh
upstairs.
my god, this is a show for children. They're not trying to animate the penis or the vagina. So we just have
Not
to use
with
our,
that
we have to
attitude.
use our imagination to know what Elisa saw.
Okay, it's great.
Vagina.
It
So that
is.
means that every time she and Fox hang out, Fox don't know that Lisa's seen her vagina.
Hey, Fox, I saw your vagina.
I feel like Fox would somehow turn that into a power move, though.
She'd be
Oh,
like,
she would.
oh, did you like what you see? Or something. Do you want to see it again? And Lisa's like, no.
It's one of a
thank
kind.
you." It's one of a... What?
She has a one-of-a-kind vagina, man. She wants to flaunt that.
I mean, who doesn't?
God, I love talking about her vagina for some reason. Okay, next.
Okay, moving on. As great as it is to see Goliath and Elisa sneakily listen in on Xanatos' plans, how the hell did they get up there so quick? They were still down on the ground looking up when Xanatos was about to arrive at the castle as it is.
That's the same way that Xanatos somehow managed to be in the alley, I guess. They have teleportation powers when it comes to eavesdropping.
They fast travel.
Oh, hey, is Josie in the Pussycats costume? I missed that.
Oh, I missed that too.
Mm.
There were a lot of costumes.
The guy in the witch costume was voiced by Keith David.
What? I didn't know
Damn,
that.
I legit
He
did not
did
recognize
sound
his
like a
voice.
genuine goblin. When I do remember that voice and thinking, oh, that was a weird voice. Is that really a witch?
Uh-huh.
I think I took a little note on it, but I forgot to mention it.
Cool.
You know damn well the main reason Brooklyn agreed with Lex that they should have Halloween more often is 'cause it would be the only time of year you could probably get lucky enough to get some pussy and or human dick.
God.
I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah, there's...
I'm not going to say it's not part of it.
God, all those gargoyle men jerking off in that clock tower, just begging for coochie. You know, it's not easy for them.
Just raining down stone chips on the passerbys over and over.
Okay, so costumes for the trio. Now they're eating food from a stall. You know Lisa's got to be putting the cash up for all this. Having gargoyle friends must be really difficult on one's wallet.
Yeah.
I mean, we
yes.
we have confirmation that she bought the costumes at least. So
Yeah.
She's a good friend.
No, yeah, she's a role model. She's the group mom.
here we go. Let's see. Xanatos working Elisa's gun was hilarious, even though she's gonna get in trouble for that later with Captain Chavez. She's gonna say the werefox did it.
Yeah.
Like
easy.
everyone's seen the werefox. It's not a secret.
Easy
That's the
peasy.
thing.
Just like they've seen the gargoyles. Numerous times.
Yeah.
Well, Matt Bluestone's seen the Gargoyles.
Well, so did they. Well, do you not remember when Bronx was running through, like, Times Square?
Like, even in this episode, they just ran through the crowd.
Yeah.
But, like, it's
That's
Halloween.
Halloween, so
Yeah,
they
it's
can-
Halloween.
You know. I'll assume that people recognizing Xanatos, because how could they not? Plus, the walking back in a helicopter. People would probably think this was some sort of pre-planned stunt and thus not think much of it afterwards. Except for Brendan and Margot's wrecked car, of course. He just answered our question.
I hope that Xanatos paid for their car to be repaired.
I hope he didn't. I hope they had to pay every penny. Because I don't like...
She's a town council member or something. She
Yeah.
can afford it. She's good.
Oh god, that makes me hate her even more.
Yeah. And hello, we got naked woman in a kid show. Rachel
Yeah.
Lisa did cover her up quick, but still, she's naked, and I appreciate the boldness.
Yeah,
I mean, it was as naked as, like, Amalthea is in The Last Unicorn. Like, it's fine. It's tasteful nudity.
In general, I like how this episode did well in developing not only Xanatos and Fox's relationship, but also Goliath and Elisa's.
Lisa's, yeah.
You really see the romantic feelings growing there. In general, I didn't remember that much from this episode, so it's pretty fun to see how many moments stand out upon rewatching, and how very much the clan has acclimated themselves to modern day, especially taking into account that by this point, they've been there in Manhattan for over a year. Though it really makes me wish that we'd seen their first Halloween, as back then they had been awake for less than a month. And speaking of, it's timeline time.
Oh, no.
As you saw,
Yeah.
it's October 1st when Xanatos proposes to Fox. On the 2nd, Lisa orders the costumes for the trio. The 3rd is when Fox first transforms. And on the 4th is when she's first spotted. On the 30th, Lisa's picking up her costume when she first encounters Werefox. And this was the day after she and Broadway caught the Dracons and they're gaining the Silver Falcon. And a couple of extra bits. On October 12th, Xanatos gains possession of a certain object we'll see in the next episode, the Price. And right after...
What object
I'll
is
give you
that
a hint.
with the rings?
No, it involves a certain
Illuminati thing?
resurrecting bird.
The Phoenix Stone?
Gate.
Oh.
There's a lot.
Moving
a lot.
on.
There's a lot of magical objects in this show, and like they change hands pretty regularly. I don't remember who has what or when.
And right after Halloween, on November 1st, not only does Xanatos receive a certain letter that we'll hear about in the very next episode,
Yeah.
but also a certain nasty piece of work very related to Goliath emerges and starts living at the castle.
Nasty piece
Is that
of...
when Thalod comes
Yes.
in?
Oh!
I like how we're just like, what is
And
he?
I'm like following
Is
along.
it
Goliath's
this?
nasties in the castle, huh? Fucker.
And that'll be all for now. Keep the great podcast and keep being awesome.
Aww.
Thank you. We'll
you
try.
keep being awesome. May I have my mouse?
Yes.
Let's see. Their next email is from Matza, which I believe this is their first one to us. And from what I can see, it's very short, so I'll read it very quickly. It says, I know it's from a later episode, but when Goliath used the eye during the Avalon journey, don't you just wish he transformed into a werewolf too, rather than some Odin ripoff? And
Yeah.
I will tell you, yes.
Yeah, that's pretty...
Yes,
yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it until you said this, because,
That's-
again, I don't think about that later episode if I can avoid it.
I do,
But-
because I remember seeing Goliath's butt cheeks in a few shots.
Yeah, that is there. I do remember that much.
But, yeah, other than that, I do kind of agree he should have been turned into
Yes.
some hot, hunky
Yes.
werebeast or
Absolutely.
something. Loincloth-clad werewolf.
Absolutely
Purple.
agree. Thank you for your email, Matza.
Or black.
Please
Because
email
his
us
hair is
again.
black.
And then, would you like to read the last
I
one?
would love to read the last one because it is from one of my favorite artists of all time, Spiffy Goblin.
Yeah.
He says, "Hi all, I recently re-listened to the Silver Falcon episode and wanted to weigh in on your discussion of what weird kinks Matt Bluestone would be into.
Oh no!
Oh no.
I got thinking about how generally people tend to fall into one or two categories of kink. Some people use kink as a way to express a version of themselves contrary to their typical behavior, like how big, strong Goliath wants to be colored and dominated. Other people's kinks are an obvious extension to their usual interests. For example, Xanatos probably prefers unnecessarily elaborate situations and positions that you're certain will never work, but when you inevitably use your footing and slip, you realize that you're now in the real position he had been planning all along, and he shouts all according to plan as he climaxes. He immediately leaves for a meeting and orders Owen to offer you pillow talk in his stead.
And to clean up with his tongue, probably.
I think it is obvious which of the two categories Matt Bluestone falls in. He exclusively dates conventionally attractive brunette women, always 1 to 2 years younger than him. He always holds off on sex until they have been dating just long enough that her friends will someday ask, "Hey, didn't you used to date a guy named Matt?" And not so long that she won't have to think for a minute to remember. During lovemaking, he insists on keeping his tighty-whities on until they are in bed and the lights are off. Removing his dress socks is absolutely out of the question, and no, he will not elaborate why. She is discouraged from touching any part of him that is not his unremarkable biceps or his perfectly statistically average dick. He is direct and to the point and does minimal foreplay before engaging in a missionary that is best described as generally acceptable to both participants. There always comes a moment, though, when his features are visible only by moonlight from the window, and he stares deeply into her eyes. His gray-blue gaze, revealing to her a passion she had not known possess. As his pace quickens, his lips part as if to kiss her, but he instead intones only 4 words in a hushed, deep voice. They're called the Illuminati. Get Spiffy on this podcast.
No.
We need him in an episode. We need a Matt Bluestone episode.
He can take my place
Yo!
for the Matt Bluestone episode.
Oh my god!
I don't want to talk
we'll
about
just,
him.
We'll call Spiffy Croup. It'll be brilliant.
No one will be able to tell the difference.
No different, as if you were on the podcast, but it'll be Spiffy instead, and he will go into in-depth detail like he just did
Yes.
on all of Matt Bluestone's
His
in-depth.
various appetites.
Okay. This is followed by 15 additional minutes of missionary. There's still more.
There's more!
There's more. That is best described as generally acceptable to one of the participants, accompanied by the universe's only attempt at a sultry, in-depth crash course on secret societies. Not only is mansplaining the Illuminati Matt's kink, it is the only way he is capable of getting off. And he signs off. That's it. That's the email. I apologize to whichever of you just read this. Are you glad? Are both of you glad it was me that read this?
I don't think I've been able
100%.
to.
Oh my god.
I would have died.
Oh, the most chaotic member. Holy shit. I love this. Thank you so much for this email, Spiffy. I highly recommend that you send more content like this because this is gold.
I can't breathe.
Oh my god. I think my fellow podcasters are dying. I think that's the only way we can end this episode because there's no more emails, there's nothing left to talk about. I mean, that's just really the end all to all ends, isn't it?
There's
Well,
nothing else.
Our next episode. What is our next episode?
Vows.
gonna be on?
Vows, another of my
Vows.
favorites.
Oh.
It's the wedding between two characters.
It might be my favorite. It's my top 3.
Yeah,
Between
it's
that
so
feature
good.
tense and like maybe the mirror.
Yeah.
I feel like
They're
those
all
are probably
good.
the best ones in the show to me.
All right. So I think that's all she wrote.
That's it, baby.
Tune in next time on the Loincloth Hour for our finest hour, or maybe 2 hours, depending on how much we have to talk about, because this episode's almost 2 hours, but not quite.
Maybe 3 hours.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit, son. Okay, we're